real estate bill I mailed out recently. Anything prior to that, like the November 1 bill, that has interest and that is accruing still if people haven't paid it.
Okay, well, I guess we're probably about ready for a motion to approve those changes, which are to extend the payment till June 1st and no interest until July 1st. Is that right?
Yeah, well, June 30th. They like to use the end
June
of the
30th.
fiscal year.
June 30th.
Yeah.
Is there any
I
discussion
so
about
move.
that?
I so move.
I'll second.
That second,
Okay.
Lori?
Yep, I second. Can you guys
Huh.
hear me?
Oh, now I can. For some reason, your picture didn't catch up with your sound. I can hear you. So, well, I'll vote all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we had that pass, Penny. And I think one question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, we do have to alert all the taxpayers of this change. And I thought that meant a mailing, but I found, and Kathy, my assistant, found on one of the addendums, is that you can use the web page for the town and or post things around town. It doesn't have to be a big giant mailing.
Okay, well, it looks like we are doing a mailing to every residence in town, hopefully this week. So
Oh,
I think we should include.
not me, you guys?
We are. We are.
Okay.
Select board.
The select board. And I'm not looking at what you wrote today, but I mean, I did see it, but I haven't, I don't have it in front of me. But I think that the first page of what you wrote, we could send out if you put on that first page.
Right, on that, yeah, on that first page, important information I had done, there's a heavy line across, and then there's some stuff, notes that I had put about the exemptions. That has to go through the assessors, not me. So I'm
Right.
hoping somebody's contacted them. So that doesn't need to be added in any mailings. That's just for internal info for you guys.
Right, okay. So,
So
on the
Penny,
end of that first page, can we put, if you would like an exemption, you should get the form from the tax collector?
Yeah, sure. I always have those forms.
Okay.
so
Christine,
so
do
we're
you have a
going to use,
question?
Christine?
so we're going to use the notes that Penny sent. It says important information regarding your tax bill, and it goes down to the due date
Uh-huh.
for applications for property tax exemptions is extended June 1st. And then we're going to add,
Yeah,
we're going to add, what are we going to add?
We're going to add, if you need the
if they
form,
want,
if you need the forms for either one, you can contact the tax collector or get them on the website.
Okay, do you have that,
Rather than
Nancy?
including those two pages in the mailing.
right.
That's a good idea.
And they are available on the website?
Who knows? That's the assessors. I always keep copies.
Lori, we can put that on the website, right?
I think it should be doable. I will definitely check. Oh. Sorry, I was muted because the dog was barking. Yes, I will check. I will check in with the website committee, but that seems doable.
Thank you.
Okay. And the payment plan letters and contract that I had sent, do you want to just have them in my office and people can contact me and I'll, talk I usually talk with whoever is asking for a payment plan and set something. It's very fluid. It's whatever, you know, it goes against how much tax they owe and how much they think they can pay. So it's very individualized.
I think that's fine, Penny, if we leave it in your hands.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we can put it-
I'm happy.
we can put a note to that effect on the letter that people should
Yeah,
see. this-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we,
Yeah. And
no.
So
Okay,
Nancy, did you get that in, Nancy Aldrich, did you get that information, the changes?
I think so, but before I send anything out, I'll run it by everyone anyway.
Okay, good. And you can do that tomorrow, Nancy?
Yes.
Great, great.
any other further
Okay.
discussion on taxes?
oh, I know what I wanted to let you people know. By law, I have to send out demand bills. They don't give me a set deadline to do it, but in order, you know, we'd have to wait till after June 30th since we've adopted this change. And then, so outstanding balances will remain in my totals for the audit team. I just want people, because I can't turn over that to Carolyn until I do an actual demand and give them 14 days to pay, which they're not going to pay, but that's the law.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Penny.
Okay. Am I done?
I think so.
I think so, but do we
All
want
right.
to talk to,
Phil?
your husband, Phil? Yes, as a side thing.
Yes. Okay. He can be next. 1 second.
Thanks.
Hello, folks. Come on.
Hey,
Hi, Phil.
Phil.
So,
Hi. What can I do for you folks?
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the changes at the rats and maybe mention your possibility of changing the pay?
Well, I did speak with Barbara Craddock, and she was supportive of the idea that given the CDC directives and her other directives and notices that she's given out, that requiring townspeople to wear masks is consistent with everything that's going on. So we haven't gone to that step yet, but I thought Barbara was going to be on the phone conversation.
I actually am
kind of
on
spell that
now.
out better, but oh, hi, Barbara.
Hi, sorry.
So that was
Christine,
that's okay. So that's
go ahead.
that's all we wanted to do, is just for the safety of the rats workers, and also for the safety of other people coming into the rats, that everyone that comes in should be given notice and should be required to wear some kind of protective facial gear, whether it's a cloth or a mask. And if that's okay, if that goes forward, we would probably make that effective as of this Saturday.
Sounds okay to
Yeah.
me.
Christine, I didn't
Sounds
get your
good.
email until just a few minutes ago, so I didn't write anything up ahead of time. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So are
So
you,
should we-
So you're looking for something? You're
Go
looking
ahead.
for something for the newsletter, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're
Yeah.
actually sending out by mail a letter to all residents that's going to address the tax bill payment, the tax bill changes, and the election changes. And we can include the rats.
So we should have a notice that residents are requested for the safety of all residents that enter the rats and for the workers that the town is going to require that people wear masks. And then Barbara may want to add, you know, the other conditions that are being recommended by the CDC, of course, the gloves and protective eyewear. But at the minimum, it seems appropriate that people should have masks on at least to go into the rats.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I write this up and send it to you tomorrow, will that get there quickly enough for you to get it published when you want?
Yep, that will do it.
Okay, I'll
If you
just send
send
that
it-
to the select board.
Yes.
And,
Okay, I will
and
do that.
Christine, to your other question, to your other question, the road commission has felt that the RATS personnel are really stepping up, you know, and being not compelled to, but at least as part of their job to interface with the public. And we want to offer them some type of compensation, either hazardous pay or something along those lines. And each of the road commissioners have agreed with that concept, although we have not formally met and voted on that. We haven't had one of these video public hearings yet, so it's not, I don't know where we want to draw the line on whether that's appropriate to discuss at this point, but that is in the works, and we had talked about possibly increasing their pay by 30 or 40% just for the duration of this crisis, and at this point in the amount of $5 an hour. I personally feel it's little enough to offer for the duty they're doing and for keeping the rats open.
Well, thank you, Phil. I think that's just good for everybody to know that that's being discussed. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. It sounds
Sure.
like a good idea to me. Do we have a FinCom opinion about that? I think it's probably falls under emergency federal
Sound-
help, perhaps.
It
I
sounds
have no
like,
problem with it. This is Doug.
Hi, Doug.
I think the money's there actually in the RATS budget in part because the revenues have been so much higher that I'm not worried about that.
Okay, good.
That's partly why I'm putting so far I have in the coming budget I've got them flat funded, even though some of the tipping fees are going up for the same reason. I'm assuming that the revenue will compensate for that. And I did send a note to Nancy and Joy about that for them to see if they could figure out something too.
Okay, good.
it's a critical place in town, meeting place. It's, you know, in order to keep up public health all around. And it just seems only right that these people are putting themselves on the line, that's recognized.
And these aren't young people either.
No.
True.
They're old guys.
Which is relevant, you know. I don't know. I mean, I
is.
kind of, I feel for
It is.
Ray being out there. I don't think my wife would let me do it.
Mm.
Yeah. Some wives won't let their.
I can say for sure that, yeah. I can say for sure that I would not want to be doing it. And I appreciate Ray in particular with his willingness and optimism for doing it. So good for him. I'm glad to hear you folks support that.
Yep. Thanks for
So
that.
this whole idea of wearing masks is to protect everyone concerned, people going in and people who are at the rats. And I'm really actually quite surprised when I go out to do deliveries for the farm now, and just way too many people. They're out, even working in the stores that are not necessarily wearing masks, but even people going in. It's quite a concern that the message is not getting out the way it should.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely. Least I can do.
I think the next thing on our agenda is Gretchen with us? Well, not hearing Gretchen. maybe we can discuss a little bit about the election changes, but I think Nancy sent out today an email that sums up the changes on the election, including dates and early voting by mail. And
Yeah,
looked
that
pretty-
was something we had started a couple of days ago, and then we updated it with some more information. I think that's about ready to go, unless Gretchen has anything else, although yesterday she seemed to think it was fine.
Okay.
Oh, I had a quick question that I don't think it was in the latest version. If there was a change in the latest version. Is there a hard deadline as to when somebody would have to get their request in by, so that they could get the ballot back and vote? Because I think people will forget, and if there's not a hard deadline, then they might miss it.
I think there is a hard deadline, but I'm not sure
the
what
right-
it is.
And in the notice.
Oh, in the notice, right, yeah.
So we might need Gretchen for that.
I don't think there is no, I have the, in front of me, the notice, the older notice, I guess. It doesn't have a deadline, but Nancy, can you make sure that you get in touch with Gretchen and add that deadline?
Sure, this is to request the early voting ballot.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check with her tomorrow.
It's
Thank you.
looking at the agenda. I think she might not be coming till 6:30,
Oh, right,
All right.
so we could wait.
okay. Good point. Sorry, I forgot about that. How about the annual town meeting? Any thoughts about that?
So what's the directive from the state?
I think we can actually postpone it indefinitely. I think we can postpone it, for example, to September.
Push it off toward the special, traditional time for the special.
Right. And then we get to spend each month the amount that we spent last year each month. Is that right, I think?
Or 1/12 of the annual, or something like that.
Now, is
Concerned
that the total?
That might not work though. Some things get paid in different order than that. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking that would mean the line items would stay the same.
I'm thinking the
I'm
school
concerned
budget.
about things like, school budgets, the insurance, those
Yeah.
are all paid up front in July.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
Christine?
I think that we don't need to decide tonight. The town election isn't for another almost 2 months. Not the election, the town meeting. So
Right.
maybe who would be doing some research into what that means in terms of paying school bills and insurance bills?
I'd be happy to check. I just don't know where to start. Who would know?
Is there any,
ELS, I would think.
is there state
Department of Local
advisory?
Services.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
I'm
didn't-
wondering. Okay, I have a thought about that, which is that the most, to me, the most effective thing would be to have an actual meeting sometime midsummer when it's most likely to be okay. And if we were to set a date, say early August or late July, and it still didn't work, then we could change it again. But at least if we had something that was somewhere near the beginning of the fiscal year, it would cause less chaos for us.
Right. Yeah. Well, like
But we don't have to decide that right now. But that would be my goal, kind of, I'm thinking.
Well, I did note that Wuhan opened up their city again after 11 weeks, 3 months. So since we started all this in March, April, May, with July seems like a pretty possible date. Who knows, but.
There's still a
Yeah.
laboratory because we don't know if there's going to be a second wave. That's
Mhm.
the thing to be what. So really have to sit back and watch what's happening there. And then it comes down to the reliability of the information that's coming out of there as well, as there's suspect more than once.
Right.
And it could come back in the fall with vengeance. So then, God help us. But if we'd already had a town meeting, that would be sort of helpful for what it's worth.
I'm going to suggest right up front to try to do an open air town meeting. I mean, I think
Yeah, that's
people,
another. Yep.
I think people would feel a lot better about it. But if it's possible to think about doing it that way, that has its issues, but it also could relieve a lot of people's apprehensions as well.
Could we have one with a rain date? That'd be a mighty way to do it. Have
Right.
a meeting date and then a rain date, meeting and date. And I like that idea. People could bring chairs. Could use a sound system.
Pop-ups, if they needed shade.
The
but-
sound system, you might have trouble with people wanting to speak. You'd have to have a microphone that you passed around, which you wouldn't want to do.
You could put a plastic bag over it, and you could put a new one on every time somebody talked.
Right.
Okay.
That would be
Well,
fairly
those
easy.
are all- Those are all good questions to be thinking about before we make a decision.
And
So
the
it
mass
sounds like-
moderators, I think they have a little formula for how much space you need for how many people for the 6-foot distance.
Uh-huh.
So I could get that formula and we could kind of figure out how many people we might expect to come.
That would be
Is
good,
there any
Katie.
concerns if you have something like that and there's a decent amount of people who just won't want to be there in person, that you would need to provide remote access?
Well,
That's a question we can think about too.
yeah.
Because then it would be hard to have it
I wonder-
outdoors.
Is what takes precedent, really. Understand how the law is as far as access, but what takes precedent under these conditions? And how far can we take accommodation in that respect before we've really compromised everything? So they're good questions to think about.
Yep. I do like the outside idea.
Dan, this is Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, just keep in mind that there still is a directive to have no gatherings larger than 10 people. So we'd have to see some moderation in that before we could
Yeah.
put everybody in one place.
Right. Yes, of course.
Right.
Good point. So I'd like to just go back to, Nancy said she would try to figure out something about how postponing the meeting would affect our budget, but she wanted some help on that. Is there anybody who's willing to help Nancy?
Yeah, I'll help.
Yeah, I
Who's that?
don't mind doing the legwork. I just don't know where to start, who to ask. Would
Well-
it be the DOR?
This is Carolyn, and through the Mass Treasurers Collectors Association, we get updates every day on these changes that are being proposed or have been signed into law. And so, I can share that information with you or give you the link as to where you can get these updates. But I think you can go to the DOR and, sign up for email notification.
Well, I'll start with them
Okay,
and
so
get back to you if I don't find anything.
And who said that they would help?
I did.
Who?
Doug.
Doug
Who's
did.
I? Pardon?
Doug.
Doug.
Doug, okay. All right, thank you. Thanks, Doug.
All right.
Well, I actually brought up the question of the annual just as a food for thought item. Christine's right, we don't need to decide tonight, but we
right.
can all think about it. Al, I like your background.
Thanks, that's, that, too bad Doug can't see it. That's kind of across the street from his house.
Oh,
maybe I'll see it when we have our Zoom for the FinCom, because I'll be
Okay,
on.
I'll leave it up for you, but whenever you see me, you're gonna see a Wendell, you're gonna see a Wendell backdrop whenever you catch me.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to do that when I'm going to sacrifice some bandwidth to the FinCom meeting at 7:30.
Dan asked me complimented for the bookshelves. But...
So
Do
do
I
we
hear
have
Gretchen
anything
there?
short?
Christine?
Do we have anything quick? We have a few minutes before 6:30. Is there anything quick we can discuss, Nancy?
Can I ask something really quick, just to identify the people who are on the phone? I'm not sure we know everybody. Maybe we do now. Somebody just left.
Okay, well, we have Doug on the phone at 2607. We have Carolyn on the phone. We have Barbara Craddock on the phone, or we did at 8710.
I'm here.
There, but maybe she's not anymore.
I'm still here.
Katie?
Katie, I'm here, and Josh is here also.
Oh, right. Okay, good. Anybody, any other? Oh, sorry.
Penny and Phil are both here. We're listening with rapt attention.
And just because Liam is next to me, too, in case you didn't know. Taking notes. So he wanted to make sure he knew who everybody was.
But
Thank
I
you,
did want
Liam.
to add I did want to add about the conversation about backgrounds that Dan, you win the prize for like the professional background for your video chat here. I mean, you are quite up there with all the national guys, you know, the bookshelf in the background and all.
Oh, he's got a bookshelf. Oh.
Well, you know, I do come to Turner's from my little office over here, and you can actually see in the background.
You look good, Dan. You look good.
There's a film rewind crank there, which is for cranking two rolls of 16 millimeter. So that's authentic.
Old school.
I could see you on national television.
Thanks, Phil.
So Nancy
anyway,
Aldrich
we're
is
listening.
also on the phone.
Right.
Yeah, Nancy Aldrich.
So Nancy, why can't we see you?
I have low technology here at home.
Well, your voice is loud and clear. That's good.
Me too, Nancy. This is Barbara. I don't have a camera on my computer either. Which is not a bad thing.
Nobody wants to see me.
Oh.
No,
yes.
not true.
And they
Not true.
certainly don't want to see my background. I'm in my husband's office, and oh, what a mess this place is.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
No comment here.
He's not on the line, we take it.
He's not home, so I can say that.
Maybe if he was, you'd want to say that. I don't know.
Yeah, he would.
While we're waiting, could someone summarize what Penny said in the first 2 minutes? Because I was a minute or two late.
Well, we voted to extend the deadline for paying taxes and to forgive the interest up until the beginning of the new fiscal year.
That's interesting. Did the state give us the permission to do that special, or could we have always done that if we wanted to?
That was
No, the state
special.
did.
Yeah, okay. So what's the deadline?
Is that Doug?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Doug on the line? Well,
Yeah.
Doug,
That's
I
Doug,
could
yes.
answer for Penny, but I might get in trouble. So here she is.
No. The state did, they did a House resolution this week, pushed it through. So this is the guidelines they gave it all the towns to do.
great.
But
What's
it
the
has
date?
to be approved. June 1st is the new due date, but no interest until after June 30th. So
Okay.
even if they're late, they get another 30 days without interest.
That's great. I'm really glad they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So Doug, we'll post that on our town website and also put it in the newsletter that we're sending out this week.
Yes, that part I got.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
this is Nancy again. Speaking of the newsletter, did we determine exactly what's going in that? What's being stamped, not stamped, envelopes? They're doing it.
Thanks for remembering that.
I think we came to the conclusion that we didn't need the stamp.
Okay,
because
so we're
we can-
going with
I-
option
put-
1 then.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So
That's
they will, yeah, they will print and stuff the envelopes with the letter and a returned addressed but not stamped envelope. I think it was like, I don't know, $300 and something for that option.
Right.
As long as we keep it to 2 pages. I think every additional page we put in, it's like another $100 for them to print it and stuff it.
Okay, well, we do have additional pages, I think, and that's something we need to figure out. We talked about sending out the application for voting by mail,
Yep.
Early voting, yeah.
early voting. And then we have one
Right.
page that we're gonna come up with for Penny for tax collections.
Well, I think that we can fit the information for tax collections and town elections on, it can be double-sided.
Okay,
And
Cool.
then there's the rat
And then one-
information too.
Yeah, I think we can
Which will
fit
be
it on
short.
one double-sided sheet.
okay,
I'll
great,
make it work.
great, thank
Thank
you. Is that it
So-
for,
Well, we're still waiting for Gretchen, I believe.
right?
Is
Yeah,
Gretchen
I'm not
here?
sure that she, I'm not sure that she understood that we needed anything else from her. She may have thought her part was done with
Okay.
what we've already discussed.
Well, I think it can be because we can, Nancy, we can all talk in the morning and you can speak with Gretchen and send it to her for any last minute.
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, and the fact that I can email it and send it to Adam, I can do that, anytime. I don't have to worry about driving there, so that makes it
Yeah.
really easy.
Great. Okay,
So there
So
was-
if we,
All right.
Lori?
Sorry. I know there was another question that was out there when we were discussing this, is whether just an email or a phone call would suffice to make that request. So I don't know if that's another question to clarify with Gretchen, in case we want to add that as in that last line there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think that an email works. I remember her saying that, but it might have to be something written. But yes, let's check with Nancy. If you can check with Gretchen, that would be good.
Yeah, because I know that you have to sign the application, so I'm not sure that a phone call would do it.
Mhm. Okay, well, we'll check on that and add that in the paragraph.
Okay.
Joe, I was just wondering if what's your PPE status? Are you guys doing all right with what you have in stock?
So far, yes, we're okay. We have quite a bit of stuff from basically we raided the what's called the emergency dispensing site supplies out of New Salem, so that's mostly what we're working off of, and then we've gotten a few things in from requests we've made through MEMA. So for now, we're fine.
Good.
I know it's been such a difficulty elsewhere. I just want to chime in on that in case there's anything, if we need to put it out there for, I know I've had a couple of friends have actually had some stock, and one up in Asheville's given it over to to fire and emergency up there. So, in any case, just want to know.
Yep, thanks for asking. We're okay for now.
Joe, this is Nancy.
Hi.
Do you still have any spray bottles left of that alcohol?
We do still have some sanitizer. We got, go ahead.
Because with Carolyn and Penny and Barbara on the line, I didn't know if any of them required some for their offices in the town building. Gretchen has mine. I gave her mine, but I have another one, so I'm okay.
Yeah, the Board of Health is okay. We have some in our office.
So,
Joe,
So
this
we're ready-
is Phil. Penny heard you mention my name. Did you want something from me?
no,
That
Does
was to
Penny
Joe.
need any? Does Penny need any spray alcohol cleaner for her office?
this is hand sanitizer we're talking about, folks, not disinfectant.
Okay.
I thought the spray was a
We're all
disinfectant,
set.
Joe.
No, those little pump
Penny's all
bottles,
set.
the little white pump bottles are hand sanitizer.
Ah, okay.
I mean, you can spray it on other stuff, but its role is for hand sanitizer.
This is Phil. I will add that for those of you that don't know, Joe is maintaining an incredible supply chain for folks that need it, and he's providing it to everyone that does need it. But he's got all the equipment that we're hearing about on the news, the gloves and the masks and the spray. And Joe is working 50 hours a week at least. I just want to give you that, Joe.
Thank
We
you, Phil.
appreciate you that.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Sure,
I feel
happy to do it.
confident, Joe. Joe, I feel confident with you managing this emergency situation for us. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, we're doing the best we can, given what we have, no doubt. Thank you.
And he's been very
I will
supportive of the
add
Board of
that-
Health too.
Absolutely. I want to add for Joe that I'm concerned about his good health. So when Penny and I went for a walk by the New Salem Fire Department yesterday and went down to the Quabbin, we tried to get Joe to come along, but he was too busy. So Joe, you gotta take care of yourself, guy.
Hey, I'm out in my
You're
garden
working very hard.
every afternoon I come home. It's right out into the garden for an hour or so. But thank you, Phil.
Well, you work very hard for our benefit, and you count too, guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I was happy to see that there's an effort being made by the Sheriff's Department and others to provide housing for first responders if they get exposed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming maybe that's why I'm here, is to talk about stuff like that. I don't know if you're going to do that now, or do you want to do it later, or what do you want to do?
Take it away.
Okay, so those two documents that I provided via Nancy, they're both MOUs. The first one is the one that that was hashed out by the Athol Fire Chief in an attempt to make sure that there's EMS personnel coverage amongst various fire departments. I'm not sure that it will really affect us, especially Wendell and New Salem, very much, simply because we don't run an ambulance service and we don't typically staff that level of type of service. But should they have to call on us, we would need some sort of agreement, mostly for the towns that are east that are also on that agreement. So we're talking about Templeton and Gardner and things like that. This is kind of a stopgap kind of a measure where one town can call on another town, i.e. I need a paramedic for 2 shifts tomorrow or 1 shift Friday because the people I have are now out in quarantine or ill. And that's the goal behind that document. It's not a perfect document grammatically or otherwise, but I think it's good enough with its intent. So what I would, I guess, ask for is at least permission to sign off on that one. As far as the other one is concerned, that's a little bit of a different animal. That's an MOU that if we sign on to it, we are on the hook for a financial hit depending on what happens with that facility that document speaks to. It does allow for us to be able to house an individual that does not wish to go back with their family if they need to isolate for 2 weeks. But the financial aspect of it is all based upon how many towns sign up for it as to how much you're going to be on the hook for and how many people get put into this facility. So I'm going to recommend now, I mean, I would, if you guys want to, allow me to sign that if I choose to, that's fine. But I'm going to hold off on wanting to sign it until I get a feel for what's going to happen in Franklin County for something that may be similar, as opposed to having to send people down to Hadley. There's something in the works, hopefully in Greenfield, and we'll see where that goes. I've also had conversations with Kemsley Academy and Pine Brook Camp. Both of the folks that own those operations are open to the idea of doing something similar, but the whole logistical piece of it, which is feeding people and cleaning up and all the rest of that, would have to be worked through. So ideally, I would rather not have to do all that, especially if it's the work is being done through a hotel or something like that that already has those type of services in place that we could make use of.
Right.
So that's the bottom line on those two things.
So do we have a motion to approve, or do we have any
I'm-
discussion, Christine?
Well, I want to make a motion that we approve Joe's signing on to that first document, and if he decides that it's a good thing, to also sign onto the second one.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, Christine? Christine, can you hear me?
Aye. Yes, aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Delay.
Okay,
All right.
that's unanimous.
All right, thank you, folks. I appreciate that. I'll look to try to secure the same thing from New Salem. That they don't meet until I believe it's the 20th, so we'll see. We obviously very much hope that we don't have to employ any of this kind of stuff. Just as a further update on things, we are looking towards we're looking towards the mutual aid agreements that we have in place within Franklin County to see how that's going to hold up if we start having to do things like this as well. We do have a long-standing mutual aid agreement, the Tri-State Fire Mutual Aid Agreement, which some of you may be aware of, that allows us, that's what allows us all to go wherever we go and have everything taken care of in the proper fashion. So we're hoping that that's sufficient and we don't have to do anything further. So there's been discussions at the chief's level on how we're going to handle our mutual aid as we go forward in this whole thing. Beyond that, as far as any other updates from me, I mean, we are open in the EOC. People can call us if they want. I know that message has gone out, at least I believe through the listserv. We haven't had a lot of calls from folks, which is good. We haven't had a whole lot of effect so far, other than the social distancing part of it for our two communities, which is good also. So we're hoping that stays that way. We'll see. So it seems to be working its way out here. Franklin County has got the lowest, other than Dukes County, which is the islands, it's got the lowest case count and death count so far in the state. But I don't expect that to hold in that particular fact.
Martha's Vineyard only has a 12-bed hospital.
Right, and and our hospital capacity in Franklin County is limited. There's no doubt about that. So, but Franklin Medical is shipping a lot of folks out. They're essentially shipping folks right on out to Springfield.
I talked to someone at the Vineyard, and they said they have a food pantry that's used to servicing 50 families this time of the year, and that's been increased to 650 families.
Yeah, not
Because
surprising.
the financial hit is going to be big because they're at their lowest ebb of income, and a lot of them have depended on deposits on rentals, And they've also used that money for fixing up rentals, so they don't even have the money to pay back. So they're taking an enormous financial hit down there really, really quickly.
Right. So, I mean, these are things that we're going to have to pay attention to as we go forward for all of our own residents and how we're going to handle making sure everybody is okay, essentially. And we'll see where it goes. We just don't know. But we're tracking all the various information in the EOC, and that's the size of it. Everybody went away. You all still there? Yeah, there you go. My
Yeah.
screen just
Yes,
blanked
thank
out.
you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Joe, I have a question for you and
Yes.
Barbara Craddock, if she's still there.
I'm still here.
Do we know if there are any cases in Wendell, and if there are, will we be informed or will we know?
If we get cases, we will be contacted by Maven. Lisa White is a public health nurse, and she will report directly to me, and I will report to Joe. And so far, we have no positive cases. So I can let you know, and I will let you know if we have a case. Of course, that's all I can tell you.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
As far as us on emergency services, we will have access to the address of the case involved so that we know if we have to go there on a medical call to take the appropriate protective measures. So we'll have that information should it hopefully come, should it ever come down. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
So this is Phil here again. This conversation has been very helpful and informative, and I'm just suggesting that we do it more often. We don't have to wait for a selectmen's meeting to just get together. And aside from that, I want to appreciate everyone. That's it.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks to everybody. Christine?
I do have one more thing that I wanted to bring up, which is there's been some chatter about broadband and library, broadband committee about upping the bandwidth for broadband at the library and possibly other town buildings, which according to the information from Ray today, was that WGE and MBI are offering us that for free. So there would be better service at the library and possibly other town buildings. So maybe one of us select board members could work with whoever, the librarian, the broadband committee, to make sure that happens if we think it's a good idea.
I think it's a
Ray,
great
just
idea.
verify. Looks like only one building they're gonna decide that for.
One building, okay.
It seems like a no-brainer. It really does, because the need is so extreme right now. And if they're holding it out to us, we shouldn't hesitate. I don't know how the library feels they'll be affected overall by it, but it just seems with the need being so high. If we can get that and it's not adding anything to our bill, then we really should be going for that.
I agree.
So maybe the Board of Health can just think a little bit about, as the weather gets nicer, is there any concerns of people congregating? And maybe rules might need to be made or something.
Yeah, right now everybody's parking in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
To use, yeah. We'll have to see about that.
Mostly. Sometimes there's people sitting under the canopy or the porch at the library. One, maybe, or two.
Okay.
So
All right,
I'm
we'll keep
curious
that in
about,
mind.
I'm curious about the Good Neighbors congregation. Is there
Yeah.
so many people get together there, and I know that the Board of Health and the fire department have worked together to try and make some regulations to protect people. Is there some other method of delivering that food to people? Can we come up with something where people don't all come to the same place and congregate? It's just a
I can
thought.
tell you that it's, you know, what we put together, and I have to tell you, Nancy and Ed, I mean, they're amazing. They're just amazing. We have made it the safest we can possibly make it. I mean, there are strict guidelines as to distancing, and there are going to be volunteers there that are enforcing the distancing. Everybody sanitizes their hands first, then puts on gloves. It's going to be, the tables are set in an S pattern. And Nancy told me today that Ed has even put up, I can't quite envision this exactly, but he's put up plastic, like film or sheeting or something, between the rows. I guess somewhat similar to what stores are doing now with plexiglass, something like that, I'm thinking. And I don't know how we could make it any safer. I mean, the other choice is that these people have to go to a grocery store. And I think what we're doing is at least as good as what the grocery stores are doing. And as somebody was referring to a few minutes ago, with people losing their jobs, you know, this is a primary food source for some people. So, I mean, it's too bad we have to do it, but it's pretty essential to some people.
That's why I brought up the point about about down on the islands, is it hit very quickly, this food insecurity. The economic hit was that they took down there was more severe than here at this point. But that's why I brought that up, because I think we should get out ahead of that and be really aware of the food security issues that are gonna become a factor if they're not already, which they are.
There are a few people, I think, who just physically cannot get there. So I think they do deliver food to a few families, but they just don't have the staffing to do it. I mean, we have possibly talked about a drive-by thing where people just come and pick up boxes, but then, you know, they wouldn't get to choose what they're getting. And, you know, that's an issue for some people. But they don't have the staffing to be able to deliver to the 150 families that they serve.
Well, Barbara, thank you for all you're doing, truly.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I'll put myself on the list for making deliveries, if that helps.
Okay.
This is Phil.
Thank you.
Christine. Christine, we lost your audio.
Yeah, I know.
Is this better? Now you can hear me again?
We can hear you again.
I want to go back to who's going to be working on increasing the bandwidth at the library. Do we have a plan about that? Can we ask Ray to do it?
What did you need? Just somebody to work with Rosie and Robbie?
Yes.
I think Ray can do it. Do we need somebody from this group? Are you gonna, Ray's right here, if you want.
Hello. This would involve just communicating with Westfield Gas and Electric, which building we'd like to increase the bandwidth at. And then they will work with us. So Alistair and I will be the point people, but Rosie would probably let them into the library, and Robert would probably be involved in the activation of that increased bandwidth. But we'll definitely make sure to minimize, assuming it's the library, assuming that's what you want to do, we'll definitely make sure to minimize, you know, the amount of people interacting to get that done. And it would actually involve a separate new drop going to the library, and then Westfield would install some sort of router that would be external to the building and would, you know, would actually has probably better. It's probably a bit better than what's there currently. So even that will be an improvement as well, because it'll be outside instead of inside. And we just have to be careful to make sure that once this is all over, that we make sure to turn off that service so we don't get charged by MBI for that. And that's something that I need to learn more details from Westfield about how we go about doing that, but I don't think it's a big concern to worry about right now.
That sounds really good, Ray. I think you've got a good team going there, and I think you don't need us to look over your shoulder. You got
Okay,
Lori
well-
to do that.
We'll definitely update you in the broadband committee as we get closer to that. For right now, they just want us to, any towns, to identify which building we would do, and it is just one building. But yeah, MBI and Westfield have offered to do this without charging. So
Great. Thank
Well,
you.
That's great news. Thanks for doing that, Ray. And just one thought for possible food for thought. Might it be better to do it at the town hall, and would the parking be better there along Center Street than it is at the library?
yeah, and I thought about that, and I know there have been some neighbor complaints, people parking at night, so that might be something you'll want to consider. But I did hear, the concern about as the weather improves, people being outside. I'll leave that up to you as a board, but we do have to actually give them an answer by Friday. So I'm sorry, we don't have a lot of time, but
Well, we can probably decide that now. Christine, do you have any thoughts, or Lori, about preference?
Library. That's what people are used to.
Okay.
I agree with that. And I don't know if the parking is really that much different in terms of numbers of cars that can access. And there's the residences on Center Street, definitely, I don't think they're going to want more people there.
Okay, good.
The other place I considered was the town offices as I was thinking about this, because then there'd also be increased bandwidth for town employees. But then I thought, with them, even though there's just a few employees coming and going, it may make for they may not feel comfortable coming and going in a place where a lot of people are congregated, even if they're in vehicles. So,
Right.
yeah.
Good.
But it's a good thought, Dan. I was thinking about that too, and it would be great if we could get them all wired up, but we can't. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thanks for doing it, Ray.
Thank you. Good night.
It's the library.
I don't have anything else, Dan.
Anyone else? Lori?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to clarify something. In terms of the website, which I said I would make sure those forms were on the website, but what about, and I know somebody is making sure a lot of the other COVID-related things onto the website, but I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it's Barbara. And if we need more of a plan, like how will the election news and the tax news get on the website? I don't know if Penny or Gretchen normally does that kind of thing, talking with the website committee to put these updates on.
I think Sam Hathaway is doing it for the Board of Health.
Oh, okay.
Sam is on the website committee now.
But I agree.
Sam is? Oh, good.
This is Phil again. I agree. It would be good to have like a tag on the homepage for Wendell that would alert people to look to one site for updates and current news. If there could be something on the page that just says, it could be COVID-19, it could be anything, update or current events or something, but it'd be good to have one place to go look for things.
Yeah, well, right now the homepage does have all the COVID news. It's pretty much right there. So I guess Sam has done that with you, Barbara, as a consultant?
Yeah, I had been sending things kind of piecemeal, and he asked me, I believe he asked me, because it was a little while ago, if anything I put out to the listserv about COVID, would I like him to post that on the town website? And I said yes, so he's been doing it.
Perfect. Maybe we can just communicate to him that even if it's just, even if it's other than the Board of Health, that he can put it on the website. So that was actually leads into, I think we should also put everything that's going into the newsletter on the listserv.
Yeah.
So I can do that after Nancy finalizes it all, and then hopefully I can communicate with Sam also to just make sure those things end up on the website as
Great.
well.
Perfect. Yeah, good idea.
Thank you, Lori.
I think
Thank you.
Sam would be happy to do it.
Good.
Anything else, folks? Joe, Al, Doug?
This is Joe. Just, as soon as they can get it functioning to get the fiber operational in the fire department would be great. That's all.
Working on it.
Thank you all. So
Yeah,
thank you
no.
so much for doing this.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
I did think of, you know what would be one maybe thing to put in a newsletter? Still there?
Okay.
Just,
This
what
is
do you
Doug.
think? There are a lot of departments that never got back to us or didn't, or they may actually have left things at the town hall, and I haven't looked, so I'll have to ask Nancy if there's anything in our box. But just a note maybe to say if you're in a town committee and your committee hasn't sent anything about your budget for the year, let us know if there's any changes, because otherwise it's going to go in pretty much as it was last year. Something along that line.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Hey, Doug, this is Joe.
Yes.
I sent you my submission a while back, but you actually got that, right?
No, I would have to look and see. What did you do with it? Did you mail it to? Did you put it in the box at the town hall?
No, I emailed it to you.
No, you emailed it to me.
Yes.
I must have. I can tell you though if you wait 1 sec. If you stand in line
It
for
was-
just another minute.
It was a month plus ago.
Yeah, I probably got it.
Okay, well, if you haven't,
I-
just reach out and I'll resend it.
Yeah, if I haven't got it, I'll get back to you. Yeah. But I have a little system here that tells me whether I got
Okay.
it or not. And
Very good.
as soon as I have this open, I can tell you. But otherwise, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, everybody good?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in a half
you.
hour, Doug.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, half hour. Okay.
Half hour. Bye.
Bye.
How do we turn that on?
That's what's up. Once it goes off, it's off. Nobody's on there anymore. I'm assuming.
No, I just.
In meeting.